Okay, so you've definitely heard all the buzz, right? OpenAI's GPT-4, Anthropic's Claude,
Hmm.
these huge AI models.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
But then there's Meta's LLaMA. And
Yeah.
with LLaMA 2 out in July 2023, and now LLaMA 3 popping up in early 2024,
Yeah.
it gets talked about a lot as this powerful open-weight alternative.
They've certainly made a splash, positioned themselves as a key player.
Definitely. But, well, everyone's talking about its capabilities and this whole open source promise.
There's maybe another side to it, a side Meta isn't exactly shouting about.
Exactly. So today we're going deep on Meta's LLaMA. We've been looking at some really interesting analysis, especially this one piece, what Meta's LLaMA isn't telling you, the hidden truth behind the AI giant's ambitions.
Ah, okay. Sounds like we're peeling back some layers.
Yeah, this deep dive is all about trying to uncover those less talked about truths. The hidden motives, the competitive angles, those tricky ethical questions, and what Meta might really be aiming for with this whole open thing.
Right, beyond the surface level hype.
So let's unpack it. Let's try and get to what you really need to know to be properly informed here.
Let's do it.
First off, this term open weight. We hear it constantly with LLaMA, and it sounds like freedom, like total accessibility.
It does give that impression.
But what we're finding suggests it's not really open source like, say, the way we normally think of it. Is that right? What's the catch?
Yeah, that's a really crucial distinction here. It's fascinating. Unlike models that are truly open source, think Eleuther AI's GPT-J or maybe Mistral's Mixtral Meta, actually put some pretty significant restrictions on LLaMA.
How so? Like, what kind of restrictions?
Well, through their license agreements. For instance, you can't use LLaMA to directly train a model that would compete with their models.
Oh, okay.
And there are also restrictions on who can use it. Certain governments or other entities are specifically barred.
So they keep a fair bit of control then.
Oh, absolutely. Significant control over the model's direction, how it gets used, even how it's distributed. And that, ultimately puts a damper on truly independent research. It limits what some people would call real AI democratization.
Right. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. If it's not truly open in that pure sense, why push the open weight angle so hard? Feels like there must be a strategy behind that. A hidden playbook, maybe?
I think if you connect the dots, look at the bigger picture. Meta releasing LLaMA openly. Like, this isn't just about, sharing with academics. It's a very tactical move.
Tactical against who? OpenAI, Google.
Exactly. Against competitors like OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic,
Yeah.
all those big players with closed models. By putting these powerful weights out there, Meta basically turbocharges AI development in the wider community. They're kind of weaponizing open source in a way to push back against those closed ecosystems.
So instead of jumping straight into building their own ChatGPT rival, like a direct consumer product,
Right.
they're flooding the zone. Putting these free, high-quality models out there, what does that actually achieve for Meta itself?
Well, the hidden strategy, it seems, is to weaken the competitive advantage, the moat that their rivals have built around their closed models.
Makes sense.
And it definitely raises the question, is this really about the public good, or is it more about building their image? The analysis we looked at strongly suggests it's the latter.
How so?
By aligning themselves with this whole open science vibe, Meta attracts top AI talent, right? Researchers love that. And at the same time, they sidestep a lot of the criticism that gets thrown at companies with purely closed AI systems.
So it's like good PR while also undercutting rivals.
Pretty much. Think of it like a wolf in open source clothing. It sounds great, appeals to the community spirit, but quietly helps them consolidate influence over where AI is heading.
Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Meta's main business, their bread and butter, is still personalized ads, isn't it? Powered by all that data from Facebook, Instagram.
Billions of users worth of data, yeah.
So how does LLaMA, this big AI model, connect back to that massive pool of user data? Or does it?
Well, that's a critical point. On the surface, LLaMA looks separate from Facebook and Instagram data.
Right, they present it as distinct.
But the sources we've seen suggest that Meta's internal AI training is likely being refined using insights derived from its social media platforms. It raises some big questions.
Like what?
Like, is Meta truly keeping LLaMA firewalled from all that user behavior data?
Really?
And, maybe more importantly, could future versions start quietly integrating user feedback loops, reinforcement learning, based on how people interact on their platforms?
Wow, okay.
So the bottom line is, Meta's gigantic data advantage from all those users, it acts as this incredibly powerful and mostly hidden engine refining LLaMA's development.
That leads to another point.
Mm.
If these LLaMA models are open weight, meaning pretty much anyone with enough computing power can download and tweak them. What are the downsides? The risks. We saw mentions of a risk of weaponization.
Oh, absolutely. That's a major concern. Researchers are already seeing malicious uses pop up precisely because it's so accessible.
Like what kind of uses?
Things like creating more convincing disinformation campaigns, generating deepfakes more easily, building automated tools for phishing scams or other cybercrimes.
So making bad actors more effective, basically.
Yeah, potentially. Meta's open weight approach might be inadvertently handing powerful tools to people who mean harm, and the mechanisms to track or stop that.
Yeah.
They seem limited.
And what about safety? Are the built-in guardrails strong enough? Or can people just, turn them off?
Well, the sources indicate that Meta did include safety features,
Okay.
but they're described as pretty minimal, especially when you compare them to the layers OpenAI or Anthropic build into their closed models. Even Meta admits in LLaMA's own documentation that it can still pump out biased, toxic, or just plain wrong information.
Right.
And here's the kicker. Because it's open weight, once someone downloads it, they can try to strip out those safety layers. Or they can fine-tune the model specifically to generate harmful stuff.
And Meta can't really control that once it's out there.
Exactly. How they plan to monitor or deal with all that downstream abuse, especially at scale, that's a big unanswered question.
Okay, so this idea of open weight, leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Equal access for everyone.
That's the promise.
But the analysis we saw suggests that actually fine-tuning LLaMA to get it performing anywhere near something like ChatGPT, that's not easy. It takes serious resources.
That's absolutely right. To get that kind of high-level performance, you need huge amounts of computing power.
Which most people don't have access to.
Precisely. It's typically only available to big, well-funded AI labs, major tech companies, maybe some top universities. So it creates this illusion of equal access. It masks the reality that only a select few can really push the model to its limits. And the result might actually be the opposite of leveling the field. It could increase the gap in AI innovation.
That's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
And what about when Meta talks about LLaMA's performance? They often cite benchmarks, right? How reliable are those figures?
Yeah, they highlight benchmarks like MMLU or ARC, which test language understanding and reasoning.
Are those good tests?
Well, critics argue they can be problematic. They say these benchmarks can be over-optimized, meaning models get trained specifically to ace the test but aren't necessarily good in the real world.
So teaching to the test, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. They might not show true robustness, and there's a risk of cherry-picking results. And what's really interesting is that Meta doesn't often release detailed reports on failure cases, like when LLaMA hallucinates or shows bias.
Which hides its real-world weaknesses.
Exactly. It obscures the limitations.
Okay, so if LLaMA isn't just about open science, and it's not just about benchmark scores, what's the ultimate goal here for Meta? The analysis hinted at a connection to the metaverse.
Right. That's a fascinating potential link. Even though the metaverse hasn't exactly, exploded like Meta hoped.
Understatement of the year.
Perhaps. But LLaMA could be the key to embedding AI much more deeply into whatever digital interactions come next. Think about it. Like having non-player characters, NPCs in virtual worlds powered by LLaMA so they can actually hold a decent conversation. Or AI assistants right inside Horizon workrooms. Or even real-time translation in VR glasses.
Okay. So LLaMA provides the intelligence layer for those future experiences.
That seems to be the thinking. Could LLaMA be the underlying framework, the scaffolding, for Meta's next big push into immersive platforms? An AI layer knitting together speech, text, vision, context, all in real time.
That sounds like a plausible hidden roadmap.
It does seem to fit the pieces together.
Okay, one last area. We've touched on strategy, data, risks. But what about the sort of hidden costs of making these models open weight? The sources brought up environmental and broader societal impacts.
Yeah, that's a really important point that often gets missed. The cost isn't just zero because the weights are free.
Right.
Training these massive models, like LLaMA, takes enormous amounts of energy and computing power. And then when companies and individuals all over the world download and run their own copies...
That energy use gets spread out.
Decentralized.
Exactly. It becomes decentralized and kind of invisible. There's no central tracker for the carbon footprint. There's no easy way to do an ethical review of all the different ways people are fine-tuning and using these models.
And no safety net if things go wrong with those custom versions.
Pretty much.
Yep.
So what's not really being said is that Meta's gift of open-weight LLaMA comes with these significant environmental and societal costs. which are effectively outsourced to everyone else. Wow. Okay. So where does this leave us? We started off thinking of Llama as this powerful, open alternative,
Mm-hmm.
but it sounds way more complicated.
It really is. I mean, LLaMA is clearly an incredible piece of engineering. It's a bold strategic play in the AI world, no doubt.
Hmm.
But underneath that impressive tech, there's this complex tangle of motives, risks, and very deliberate strategies. The analysis strongly suggests we should look at Meta's open source GIF narrative with a pretty critical eye.
Yeah, it does expand access, absolutely. And it definitely sparks innovation, you can't deny that.
True.
But it also seems to mask a level of control. It ramps up the competition, and it introduces this potential for, well, for chaos almost, like a Trojan horse in the AI race.
That's a good way to put it. The real question isn't just what cool things can Llama do. It's more like what does Meta actually intend to do with it? And what does that mean for, for you, the user, and for where AI is heading overall?
That definitely leaves us with something to think about. Here's a final thought for you to chew on until our next deep dive. As this tech keeps accelerating like crazy, how do you personally start to critically evaluate the real intentions and maybe the hidden costs behind these incredibly powerful tools that are often handed out as free or open innovations? Something to mull over.